we had good experience in the real estate industry because of where we worked and where we worked before. So that's all we had. I think we had the expertise that we had, and we had, I think, passion for the real estate industry. So when we came together and decided we are going to get into this real estate industry, it's true we figured that, or rather it was obvious that there are so many real estate development companies, so we're just coming in as another developer. I think the question we asked ourselves is, number one, how do we become different? My name is Carol Naneyo. I am a partner at KWEA. KWEA is a real estate developer that is very new. I think we are among the new development companies. I think, to be very honest, at some point we were feeling like, was this really the right time to be a new real estate company? Because I remember immediately we started the company, then there were so many, every day we watched news and stories were just about the real estate scandals. Immediately we'd already started. And the easiest way for a developer to build is through off-plan sales, because just the cost of money. So when the scandals are all over the place, and it's with regards to the business model that you have adopted, you can just imagine. So I'm in charge of sales. So being in charge of sales, every day you have to explain why you're different. I think it was the biggest challenge at the beginning. So I worked at a different company before. I was doing sales. The company had grown. Sales was easy. And I remember at the time when now I wanted to make this jump, I thought that it was going to be easy, but it wasn't. Then 1 year into it, COVID came. And I remember us just sitting with my partners and wondering, what are we going to do? I think for established companies, they had the luxury of waiting for things to cool down, like closing sites, closing the offices, people working from home. But I remember for us, it was a real challenge because we were afraid if we took that break, we might not be able to rise again. So I think we made that call that we were not going to close the offices. I remember what we did is that we said that our people are going to work on site, as in they're not going to leave the site. So I think I remember we quarantined them at site. And I remember, back to your question of like how we got to start the company. We are all young, we don't have money. I remember in our first meeting, so when we met at Village Market. Everyone was there doing their own thing, and then we just met at one place, and then one of us just made a joke like, oh, why don't we start a company? I think we took it further. So we said it's a good vision. Why don't we just try and see where it takes us? So we decided, first things first, we need to be meeting every Thursday. We just meet and just brainstorm. Nothing, just see, do we really want to work together? And I think when everything was very clear, we said, now let's look for land. I think we chose Syokimau specifically because we wanted to do short stays. So usually how most of the developments work, or what most developers do, you get somebody with land, because you see the cost of land in Kenya is very high. So you get somebody with land, you partner with them, then you do a joint venture agreement. So the landowner will keep some units, you as the developer will keep some units, then you will sell some of the units to fund the project. So the initial land partners we went to look for, the question ilikuwa inakuja, what have you guys done before? And then by the time you say, no, you know, this is our first project, we are, at some point it even felt like we were trying to really beg for somebody to just, don't judge us because we've not done anything. Because even if you went to all these developers out here, you will not meet any developer that has the kind of passion that we have. But ilikuwa hard because somebody just says, I'll get back to you. Then they never get back. So we talked to a couple of land partners, but none of them was willing to give us a chance, just because it was our first project, just because we looked young, just because. And I remember one developer even asked us, so what are you guys going to put in? I'm giving you the land, so what are you guys putting in for us to start this project? Then we are like, no, we are putting in our expertise. You see, we are coming in as the consultant. So that cost that you would otherwise have paid to a consultant is what we are bringing in. But they were like, no. Because you see, this agreement usually involves you transfer your land from yourself to this other person. So they were looking at, you guys have not built. Your company is so new. Why am I taking my land and transferring to this company that is just a month old? So it was just, it felt very risky for them, which we understood. And I think after meeting like around the fourth guy, we figured by then we are lying to ourselves. This is not going to work. So what we are going to do, we are going to identify someone selling land in Syokimau. Then we are going to look for somebody that knows us, that not trusts us. Tell them we want you to buy this land, then, or rather, we want you to buy the initial units. Then that money is what we are going to use to buy the land. So we figured the only way, we will not get a land partner.
Did that work?
Yes, so I remember we identified land. I remember when we went to where Kozi is, one of my partners was there and said, like, this is it. I think this is the land we want. The owner was not even selling it. We were just making our rounds around Syokimau. So when he saw that land, he said, by the way, this is the land we need. This is it. So we said, now how do we know the owner? How do we get to know the owner? Ask them to sell for us the land. So we knew if we asked for land agents selling the lands around Syokimau, they'd be able to know who the owner of that land is. So we talked to an agent, gave us the contact of the land owner. So I called the land owner. I told him we want to buy this land. And then he's like, Then I think we met at Capital Center with that land partner, or that guy. We told him we want to buy this land. This is what we want to do. He was a very old man. And I think he was the first person to really see the passion that we have. And he said, my land, I'm going to sell it for this much. Either you guys have that money. You see, somebody can just look at you and feel like you don't have that money. So he said, either you have that money, give me, or we just call this a tea date. Don't call me, don't. So we said, yeah, we want the land, we will get the money, we will get in touch. So now, of course, it was like, now who would buy our idea and buy the initial units so that we are able to afford the land. So I shortlisted 3 people. There's a charmer that had approached me when I was in that other company. They had money, they wanted to invest that money. So I figured they still have that money because we hadn't closed the deal on the other side. So I felt if I approached them with this proposal, it will be a very, in my head, I thought it was like a no-brainer. Like, you had X amount of money. You want to spend it buying units here. If you give me that X amount of money, it like doubles whatever you are going to get. But same thing, it is an investment group, 9 couples. So 9 couples, those are 18 human beings. As in convincing 18 human beings that give us your money, we'll give you these units. It's units that were still in our head at that point. They just felt, and then they felt, no, if you left that company where we wanted to invest, they also felt like now they are lost. So they said, we'll not even invest in that company. We'll just buy shares somewhere and wait for, as we think, for about what to do next. So that's how we lost prospect number 1. So I looked for prospect number 2. A friend of mine, she's a banker. So I told her about what we are thinking. And then she was like, I think that's very good that you've come to me. You know, a friend of mine recently lost their husband. She was left a lot of money that, you know, she came to me for advice where she can invest. I think this is a very good proposal. So I'll give her this proposal. But now she'd lost someone, so she was traveling. She said, I'm coming back in about a week. Then let's pick it up from there. So it felt like a week was too long to just wait. I said, let me ask someone else as I'm waiting. So I just thought about someone that I had sold to units in the company I worked before. So I kind of knew they would afford the kind of money that we were looking for. So I remember I called him, I told him this is what we are thinking. It got interesting. He said, can we meet? We met again at Capital Center. I went with my colleague, who is now the designer. We sat at the table, I remember, from 12 to 10, just going through the proposal. This is what we are thinking. We'll make this number of units. And then he said, I am in. So that's how we just sealed that deal. One meeting, and we told him we intend to start selling our units at 2.5. But now when we did the math, it was like a unit for him would be going for 1.5. So he bought each unit at 1.5, gave us the money. I think for us it was even surprising because he even asked us, you guys have a lawyer? Then we wondered, okay, I'm giving you my money and then I'm still using your lawyer. And I think they gave us the money. We were able to purchase, we gave them the sale agreement for the units. We were able to purchase the land. Then we figured, wow, nobody is going to buy units from us if we don't have an office. Like if somebody was to ask, where are your offices? You can't be selling me a 2.5 million bob unit without an office. So we figured we need to get again another buyer that trusts us to buy another unit then to help us fit the office. So then again, went through my records, who would afford, because we did the math and figured we needed like around 3 million. We were looking for 3 million because we'd done our math. We agreed that we're not going to draw salaries for the first year. So I think number one for us was like, are you going to survive? 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 For me, I had taken a job somewhere else at that time, so I knew I would survive. I think just one of us was not working, so we figured, yeah, even if we open an office, at least we will have someone in the office on the daily. So lucky for us, the first person we approached, like we want to do this development, we are doing studio and 1 bedrooms. Our 1 bedroom will be going for 3.5 million, but if you give me money now, we will sell it to you at 3 million. And that is how that just worked, and we were able to fit this office and yeah, start operations and start now drafting Kozi. I think with us now with land and with the office, at that time you see now we have sold a few units. So there was no going back. I think for us at that point it hit us, okay, now we can't go back. And we just started the project. It's interesting. I think sometimes even when we're talking to our friends and family and telling them that we started this company with zero financing, people don't believe it. And for me, I think maybe this would be like an encouragement to any young guy out there who thinks that they want to do something. Because I remember that time, the only thing we had was the motivation and our expertise, our background. So we are 4 of us. I do sales and marketing. We have, one of us does finance, and we have an architect and we have a designer. We had good experience in the real estate industry because of where we worked and where we worked before. So that's all we had. I think we had the expertise that we had, and we had, I think, passion for the real estate industry. So when we came together and decided we are going to get into this real estate industry, it's true we figured that, or rather it was obvious that there are so many real estate development companies, so we're just coming in as another developer. I think the question we asked ourselves is, number one, how do we become different? Because we all live in houses, we all live in estates, we go work in buildings everywhere. So, and that's the space we are getting into. So how do we become different? For us, what we decided as a company is that we are only going to focus on purpose-built buildings. By purpose-built, I mean, if we do a development, we want ultimately the user of that development to be the same. Because I think we were looking at challenges of places that we live or developments we have sold at the end of the day. Because what most Kenyans are doing now, they're investing in real estate. I believe real estate is the best place for anyone to put their money. But sometimes you invest and you don't get that money that you intended, because it means I buy a house, I get a tenant. So there's a problem when you're getting a tenant, 1 month you're not getting a tenant. Most of the people, they don't have that money, so I borrowed. So any month I don't have a tenant, it means there's a dent somewhere. I have to look, because the bank doesn't care whether, your circle doesn't care whether you had a tenant or not. So we thought, because the purpose or the main reason people invest in real estate is the income. So the income means guaranteed tenancy. So we thought, how do you guarantee tenancy? We thought, if we got the same user, like if we go to a place and all of us are the same, then it makes somebody want to stay. That's why when we crafted Kozi, which is our first project, because everybody that is going to use Kozi is going to be someone on transit. So it's every day. When we meet at the corridors, I don't know you, you don't know me, I just say hi, I am coming here for one goal. So Kozi is purpose built and it's targeting the budget traveler. So I remember that time when we were deciding to become developers and start our first project, that's the time the Airbnb wave had just come. And we figured, yeah, most developers, they just do houses for rent. We felt there's a very big opportunity in the short stays business. So Kozi is specifically curated for short stays. Kozi is about 15 minutes drive from the airport and another 20 minutes just because of the loop you have to make from the SGR. And yeah, recently with the coming of the expressway, we think it was another good thing that happened to Kozi, because as we were doing our Airbnb research, we realized people like the upmarket, those sides of Westlands, Riverside, just because of proximity to the central business district and Westlands. So we feel with the expressway, it means I can sleep at Kozi and still wake up and get to my meeting in Westlands in the morning and come back. So that's what we decided as a company. The only way to differentiate ourselves from any other developer is to just do purpose-built accommodation. So the place we've positioned ourselves, because we are looking at a daily rate of between 3,500 to 4,500 a night. So you see, for an investor, if I invest, say, my 3 million, because the total comes to around 3 million, and I'm getting, say, we average at 4,000 a night, even if you're occupied only 15 days a month, or even at the very worst, 10 days a month, that's an income of 40,000. So an income of 40,000 for a studio you bought at 3 million, I think that's magical, because somebody in Syokimau earning 40,000 spent 7 million to buy a 2-bedroom house, rent it to somebody, and make, it's not even 30, it's even 40, around 30,000 a month for a 7 million bob investment. So we believe that by going that route, our investors are guaranteed a very good return. Then we crafted then Adana. The reason we were saying we want to do purpose-built buildings is because then now when you come to Adana, every user of Adana will be a student. So we feel when it's just the same person using, if I am a student, then I understand when my other student is making noise, or they are just walking holding hands on the corridors. Because, for example, where I live, we have young families, and then we have the young guys mostly working from home. There's usually a lot of conflict. Yes. So we get a lot of people coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. So just borrowing from that, we thought, when the user is the same, then I understand you. If I'm a student, I see you drunk like silly, I don't judge you, because maybe those are things I am used to. I am not there worried my young daughter will see this kind of behavior and things like those. So we intend to grow Kozi as a very strong brand. Kozi, we intend to grow it as the short stays brand. We intend to grow Adana as the student accommodation brand. And I think based on what we've done at Kozi, we have gotten most of our buyers want us to do for them homes. So they say, why don't you do for me a house? I have a piece of land here. And so we've figured that homes is a need. So we will start another brand for can forgive the mess. It was well set out like 2 weeks ago, but now it is like this. So this is the living room. To be fit with everything you'd need for. In 5 years, okay, first of all, in 5 years, we will be earning very good money. That is something we have not told anyone else. So we've actually given ourselves 5 years for us to be able to now earn or reward ourselves for 5 years. We have 3 more years to go because KWEA is now 2 years old. We look at Kozi and the way we've structured it, we look at it being as a global brand, because I think we read somewhere something like for Africans, even when we teach our children about business, or even as I start a business, I look at expanding my business within. You know, like if I want to start a hardware, I look at, I'll go to Kiserian, do this differently, become like the biggest hardware. This is what not who this hardware does not sell this, so I will sell it. So we are always competing with the next person with the attempt of being better than the next person. We don't teach our children to grow a business that is actually scalable. So that's why somebody like, say, Facebook, for example, when they grow that business, they don't look at being the best around in an area. They look at a business that can grow beyond your border. So that when we look at Kozi, we look at Kozi as a brand that will grow beyond, say, Nairobi, Kenya, because there is need for accommodation everywhere in the country, in the world. When we look at Adana, the user is a student, so every country has a student. So we look at them as, we want to grow them as very big brands that somebody can actually franchise. So somebody wants, Kozi is very successful in Kenya. I am in TZ, can I ride on Kozi? Can I do this? That is where we see ourselves going.